Welcome to this presentation. You are watching VLSI Design Lecture Series. And today we are going to discuss about the FPGA building block architectures. First, what do you mean by FPGA? So FPGA is nothing but an integrated circuit that consists of internal hardware blocks with the user programmable interconnects to customize the operation for a specific applications. That is, the user can interconnect according to his need. So that's why it is called as field programmable. The interconnects can readily be reprogrammed and allowing an FPGA to accommodate changes to a design or even support a new application during the lifetime of a part. So FPGA has its roots in earlier devices such as PROM, that is programmable readable memory, and PLD, which is nothing but a programmable logic device. So these devices could be programmed either at the factory or in the field, but they used fuse technology, and hence the expression burning a PROM and all. So, and they could not be changed once programmed. In contrast, FPGA stores its configuration information in a reprogrammable medium such as static RAM or flash memory. It includes FPGA manufacturers includes Intel, Xilinx, Lattice Semiconductor, Microchip Technology, and Microsemi, and so on. And it can be configured by the end users to implement any specific application. The capacity of the multi-million logic gates and speed up to 500 megahertz. So before the advent of the programmable logic and custom logic circuits were built at the board level using standard components or at the gate level in expensive application specific integrated circuits. So FPGA is an integrated circuit that contains many logic cells that can be viewed as a standard components. Each logic cell can independently take on any one of the limited set of personalities. Individual cells are interconnected by a matrix of wires under programmable switches. A user's design is implemented by specifying the simple logic function for each cell and selectively closing the switches in the interconnect matrix. Array of logic cells and interconnect form fabric of basic building blocks for logic circuits, and complex designs are created by combining these basic blocks to create the desired circuits. The logic cell architecture varies between different device families. Each logic cell combines a few binary inputs, typically between 3 and 10, to 1 or 2 outputs according to a Boolean logic function specified in the user program. So in most families, the user also has the option of registering the combinational output of the cell so that the clocked logic can be easily implemented. Cells combinational logic may be physically implemented as a small lookup table memory, that is called LUT, or as a set of multiplexers and gates. LUT devices tend to be a bit more flexible and provide more inputs per cell than multiplexer cells at the expense of propagation delay. Field programmable means that the FPGA's function is defined by a user program rather than by the manufacturer of the device. A typical integrated circuit performs a particular function defined at the time of manufacture. In contrast, the FPGA function is defined by the program written by someone other than the device manufacturer. Depending upon the particular device, the program is either burned in permanently or semi-permanently as a part of the board assembly process, or is loaded from an external memory each time the device is powered up. So this user programmability gives the user access to complex integrated circuits without the high engineering costs associated with the application-specific integrated circuits. Now let us see how are FPGA programs created. Individually defining the many switch connections and cell logic functions would be a daunting task, but this task is handled by the special hard software. The software translates a user schematic diagram or textual hardware description language code, then places and routes the translated design. Most of the software packages have hooks to allow the user to influence the implementation, placement, and routing to obtain the better performance and utilization of the device. Libraries of more complex functions, that is macros, further simplify the design process by providing common circuits that are already optimized for speed or area. Here are some of the applications of FPGA. Like it can be used in a digital signal processor, software defined radio, aerospace, defense system, ASIC prototyping, medical imaging, computer vision, speech recognition, cryptography, bioinformatics, and others. And now let us move on to FPGA building block architecture. As I said earlier, a basic FPGA architecture consists of thousands of fundamental elements called configurable logic blocks surrounded by a system of programmable interconnects called a fabric that routes the signal between the CLB and the IO blocks, that is input-output blocks, interface between the FPGA and external device. So depending upon the manufacturer, the CLB may be interpreted as logic block or logic element or LC, logic cell. Everything is same. An individual CLB is made up of several logic blocks. A lookup table is a characteristics feature of an FPGA. And LUT stores the predefined list of logic outputs for any combination of inputs. LUTs with 4 to 6 input bits are widely used. Standard logic functions such as multiplexer, full adders, and flip-flops are also common here. So the interconnects can be readily programmed, allowing an FPGA to accommodate changes design or even support a new application during the lifetime of the part. So what you see here is the full architecture of the FPGA. The blue colors are the logic block or CLB, configurable logic block, and the lines which are connected in between are the system interconnect, and the orange color blocks that are shown at the periphery of the circuit is called as the IO blocks, that is input output blocks. So the general FPGA architecture consists of 3 modules: on a CLB, IO blocks, and switch matrix. And the basic FPGA has 2-dimensional arrays of logic blocks with a means for a user to arrange the interconnection between the logic blocks. The function of the FPGA architecture model are: first one is CLB. The CLB includes digital logic inputs and outputs. It implements the user logics. IO pads are used for the outside world to communicate with the different applications. Interconnects provides direction between the logic blocks to implement the user logic, and depending upon the logic, the switch matrix provides switching between the interconnects. And logic block contains multiplexer, D flip-flop, and LUT. LUT implements the combinational logic functions, and the multiplexer is used for selection logic, and D flip-flop stores the output of the LUT. The basic building block of the FPGA is the lookup table based function generator. The number of inputs to the LUT vary from 3, 4, 6 or even 8 after experiments. So now we have adaptive LUTs that provide 2 outputs per single LUT with the implementation of 2 function generators. So this diagram shows the block diagram of an CLB, which consists of LUT that accepts the inputs A, B, C, and D. And the output of LUT can be obtained directly by using a multiplexer or through a D flip-flop, which is shown in this diagram. Okay. And the commercially available FPGAs are Xilinx and Ultra. Here I have given the names of the Xilinx FPGA like Spartan 3, Spartan 6, and Vertex 4, and so on. And Actel is also another company which produces FPGA, and their names are also given based on the technology they have used. And Xilinx Vertex 5 is the most popular FPGA that contains a lookup table which is connected with a mux and a flip-flop. And present FPGA consists of about hundreds and thousands of CLB. For configuring the FPGA, Modelsim and Xilinx softwares are used to generate bitstream file for development. So based on the technology, programmable technology, FPGAs are classified into 3 types called antifuse programmed, SRAM programmed, and EEPROM programmed. And the examples of the FPGA which uses antifuse programming technology is Actel and QuickLogic and Crosspoint. And Xilinx and Ultra and Toshiba, Plazos, and Atmel use the SRAM program. And Ultra Max, AMD Mac, and Xilinx CPLD uses EEPROM programmed. The major advantage of the SRAM based device is that they are infinitely reprogrammable and can be soldered into the stream and have their function changed quickly by merely changing the contents of the PROM. They therefore have simple development mechanics, and they can also be changed in the field by uploading a new application code, a feature attractive to designers. It does, however, come with a price, as the interconnect element has high impedance and capacitance, as well as consuming much more area than other technologies. Hence, wires are very expensive and slow. The FPGA architect is therefore forced to make large inefficient logic models, and the other disadvantages are they needs to be reprogrammed each time when power is applied. It needs external memory to store program and require large area. Here you can see the applications of two SRAM cells for controlling the gate nodes of fast transistor switches and to control the select lines of multiplexers that drive the logic block inputs. And this figure gives an example of the connection of one logic block to another through two pass transistors and then a multiplexer, all controlled by SRAM cells. Whether the FPGA uses pass transistors or multiplexers or both depends on the partial product. The antifused based technology has a cell which is the high density interconnect by being a true cross point. Thus, the designer has a much larger number of interconnects, so logic models can be smaller and more efficient. Place and route software also has much easier time. These devices, however, are only one-time programmable and therefore have to be thrown out every time a change is made in the design. The antifuse has an inherently low capacitance and resistance, such that the fastest part are all antifuse based. The disadvantage of the antifuse is the requirement to integrate the fabrication of the antifuses into the IC process, which means the process will always lag the SRAM process in scale. Antifuses are suitable for FPGA because they can be built using modified CMOS technology. As an example, Actel's antifuse structure is shown here. It shows that the antifuse is positioned between the two interconnect wires and physically consists of three sandwiched layers. The top and bottom layers are conductors and the middle layer is an insulator. When unprogrammed, the insulator isolates the top and bottom layers, but when programmed, the insulator changes to become a low resistance link. It uses polysilicon and N plus diffusion as conductors and ONO, that is oxide nitride oxide, as insulator, but other antifuses rely on metal for conductors and amorphous silicon as the middle layer. Next, let us move on to EEPROM base. The EEPROM flash cell in FPGA can be used in two ways: as a control device, as in RAM cell, or as a directly programmable switch. When used as a switch, they can be very efficient as interconnect and can be reprogrammable at the same time. And they are also non-volatile, so that they do not require an extra PROM for loading. They, however, do not have detractions, and the EEPROM process is complicated and therefore also lacks SRAM technology. Thank you.